I'm really excited to continue. So I need to read today's portion, but this one I've got sectioned. Whoa! Something happened. And I think, here's my theory. I think, why am I telling you my theory? That'll spoil the whole damn book. Hello! It is a day of the week. Like, there's breaks between all the chapters, and like it's not indented. It's just like a break, and that's how you know, not the chapters, the paragraphs. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a lot of readathons. So by the time you are watching this, you should have already seen my TBR. It came out probably, well, it came out today, but it came out about a week and a half when you're going to be seeing this video. And I kind of talked about how I'm doing 2 separate readathons in the month of September. I was really planning on doing one, and then the other one was announced, and so I am now doing 2. But I was going to vlog September regardless because readathons are fun. So I will be participating in both Bookoplathon, which is hosted by Becca and the Books, and the Magical Readathon, which is hosted by G over at Book Roast. I will leave both readathons announcements down below, as well as my TBR if you would like to check that out. It's a long one, but everything makes sense in that, and you can actually see everything. But basically, Bookoplathon is a TBR game that's based on her TBR game, which is based on Monopoly. And it's a board, you roll dice, you land on prompts, you find things for the prompts. It's very simple. And then the Magical Readathon is kind of a path that you have. So you've got 7 prompts that are locations that get you to this magic school, and we'll do stuff with that next year for the next readathon. And then you've got 3 other prompts that based on kind of this character you want to create for yourself, whatever magic creature you want to be, whatever island you want to be from, and whether or not you want to live in a city or in the country. There are specific readathon or specific prompts. So there's 3 extra ones, but you don't have to do those until as long as you can do them between now and whenever the next one is, which I feel like is going to be in April, if I'm correct on that. But that's basically the idea of that. But I thought I would vlog September because I haven't done a good month-long readathon that needs to be vlogged. I mean, I did Whatever-a-thon, which I feel like was in June. So it's been a while. So we're going to do that. I'm excited to vlog because I haven't done it in a while, and also I think I calculated, and I was able to cross over some, but I've got 18 books that I need to read this month. So this is going to be fun. But I thought I'd come on here and tell you what I'm planning on starting the month with and what this first week is going to look like. It's going to be a week and a half is probably what it's going to look like. I've got a couple buddy reads that I'm doing this week. And also this weekend is Labor Day in the US, so we will be going to my parents' house this weekend. So lots of fun things. I know we're going to be book shopping because they have a half-price books, and we don't have a half-price books near us, so I'm excited about that. So we'll take you book shopping. But I'm going to be starting this month. I've got both a physical and an audiobook. I like to do that. I feel like you guys know this. My audiobook, I'm going to start this with People We Met on Vacation by Emily Henry. This filled 10 things. I feel like this filled something for my TBR game. It filled the prompt, the community shelf prompt, which was a recent purchase. That actually might be it. I feel like it filled more, but maybe I was wrong. I don't think it fills anything for Magical Readathon. But I have the audiobook of this, and I planned this so that I like to save certain books for the fall, but I always seem to wait until October to think about them, and then I have way too many to read. So I strategically planned some fall books in this month as well, and this is the only one that is still a summer book because it's them on vacation. The rest of them work for the fall or are fall planned books and things like that. So I'm going to start the month off with this so I can get my summer book out of the way before it actually turns fall, and then I can start getting into the fall mood and stuff. But this is a romance book between 2 best friends who go on vacation, and I think they fall in love. Their names are Poppy and Alex. That's really all I know. A lot of people have been telling me to read this. Plus the buddy read that I've been doing every month, the Tessa Dare buddy read. Apparently both of those girls really liked this, and so I'm like, I need to do that. So we're going to start the month off with this. I have this on Audible. That's my audiobook. I'm going to start that today. And then I So like I have a physical read, but it doesn't fit anything for any of the readathons. It's for like my separate TBR, but I am reading it, so I did want to mention it. And that is 13 Treasures by Michelle Harrison. I'm buddy reading this with my lovely friend Teresa. Like I said, this fits a TBR prompt from my game, but it fits maybe some others, but I didn't put it in for any of those. But this is a fun middle grade. It's the first in a trilogy, and I'm really excited about this. We actually were planning on starting it today, but we decided to start it a day early, so we started it yesterday. So I've read, where are we at? Chapter 5. Well, through chapter 5. So we're at chapter 6, which is 63 pages. Really enjoying it so far. So I've got this section. I bought these like little metal tabs. I don't know if you can see them. There you go. They're like little darts. And so like that's how I'm tabbing my physical books / buddy reads. And it's been working pretty well so far. So gotta read this, but I'm starting the month off with these. I think these are my 2 most summery reads, because this takes place during the summer, and this takes place during the summer. So I'm excited to get these 2 completed in the beginning of the month, and then we can start with a lot of the other kind of more fall things. I'm not sure what we're going to start after this. Maybe some of the books I've got, the audiobooks from the library. That's probably what it's going to be. But I'm starting the book with the month with these 2, and I'm very excited. So come along on this adventure of September. That is crazy and stressful. It's going to be great. You know, it's going to be great. Let's go. Hello. I need to do a very quick update because we're about to walk out the door, and also my phone is about to die, so that's going to be fun. But I wanted to give you an update on my reading. I have been reading People We Met on Vacation. I only read a couple of chapters the first day, and then yesterday I plowed through this thing. So I am on chapter 19, page 194, which I think Goodreads said is just slightly over half. But I am loving this book so much. I wasn't sure at the beginning. I was kind of iffy in the first couple of chapters, which is why I think it took me so long to actually get into it. But once I was into it, I was there. I found this really interesting because I didn't really read the back, which maybe I should have, but it follows Poppy and Alex, who are best friends, and since college, they kind of have been going on these yearly summer vacations, and they're just somewhere because she's very outgoing and he's very strict and refined and, is happy with his routine, kind of wants to stay in, but with her, he kind of goes out of his comfort zone. And the two of their friendship is just fantastic. I love reading about it. It's my favorite part of this book. It's just this friendship between the two of them and how comfortable they can be with each other. And our main character, Poppy, is always talking about how she always feels kind of a little bit out of it. Even with her parents, she feels like she can't be her full self. And so with Alex, she feels like there's absolutely no barriers. She sees the real him, he sees the real her, and they love each other. And so it's just kind of super sweet. But something happened 2 years ago, post the present, because this book goes back and forth from present day to past summers, so past vacations. So you're seeing their relationship kind of build up, and something happened. So I have a theory on what I think it is, and we just hinted at something. So I think my theory is accurate. But I'm really loving it. I love that kind of mysterious element to it, and also things are being said, and I'm excited to see them. And also there's some tension between the two of them that is starting, and I'm very there for it. So I haven't done much reading so far. Now granted, it's the 3rd day of the month, so I probably need to be a little nicer to myself, but I have so much to read, so I'm trying not to think about that. But so far, so good. Really enjoying this. And then I'm about halfway through this one. Been reading it physically. I'm a little behind. I need to catch up. But I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely creepier than I anticipated it was being, because we're in this house, and this house is next to some woods, and like our main character can see fairies. That's like her whole thing, and no one else can see them. And so like it's different, and people think she's kind of very different because of that. And so that's why her mom sends her to her grandmother's house, because she wants her to stop like seeking attention when actually she's just being kind of like tormented by these fairies. And we're learning things, and there's just kind of mysterious element, and we just got like a big break in this mysterious element, so I'm very fascinated where we're going to go from here. But it's creepy. Like, it's not creepy, but like you have this very unsettled or unsettling feeling while you're reading it. It's got this kind of like summer feel because it takes place during the summer, so it's warm outside, but also like it's got this unsettling, almost creepy tone to it. And at the same time, this is supposed to be middle grade, and I feel like it is not middle grade because of some of the things that are happening. Like, there's situations in this book that are very adult situations, and they're being talked about, or at least hinted at, and it feels weird to be in a middle grade book. But I'm sure those exist, I just haven't found them. So I would say this is upper middle grade as far as like age range goes, but I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a good transition from summer to fall book, so this is like the perfect time to read it. So I suspect 5 stars and at least 4, if not 5, so I'll keep you updated, but I got to go, and I'll take you with me, and we'll talk next week sometime. I almost said it was Monday. It's Tuesday. I mean, it's Monday for me, considering that, like, yesterday was Labor Day. But, 'tis Tuesday, the 7th. And I thought I would come on and just kind of give you a little bit of an update. Have I read anything since I talked to you last? No. That's not true. I have read a little bit, oh goodness, of this one, which is 13 Treasures. I'm really enjoying it still, but this weekend, I swear, because my parents are not necessarily close, there's a lot of driving to get to them, and then when I was there, I didn't really do anything but hang out with them for the weekend, which was great. And as you saw, there's probably not a whole lot of B-roll, but we did go to the half-price books that's near them, and like, I love that place. And for the first time in the history of probably ever, my husband got more books than I did. I thought I'd do a quick haul for you guys. I think I walked out of there with 4 books, and he walked out of there with 15, no, 16. He found a bunch of John Grisham books, which I know I've mentioned on this channel before, but like John Grisham's like a legal thriller author and like one of his favorite authors. And so he's been collecting those books as well as kind of replacing the like really tiny paperbacks that he's got. So he found a bunch. Because before it was, I'm looking at the shelves now, before it was just one shelf and then like a couple of books transitioned over to the bottom shelf. He now has 2 full shelves. Not quite, almost 2 shelves. And he still doesn't have everything yet. So we're not even going to worry about that. So he had a lot, but I thought I'd show you what I picked up. I picked up these 4 books while we were at the half-price books. The first one is That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston. I've had my eye on this book for a while, and can you see the gold foiling? That is stunning. And like it's on the side too, and I think it's also, yeah, it's on the back. I've honestly forgotten what this is about, but I think it's like, here we go. Set in a near future world where the British Empire never fell, a surprising, romantic, and thought-provoking story of love, duty, and the small moments that change people and the world. So Victoria is still princess, or no, a descendant of Victoria is still princess. But yeah, I mean, come on. If this is not just me, but this cover, I just can't get over how pretty this is. And I've had my eye on this for a while, like I said, and I just haven't been able to find a decent copy, and this one was relatively cheap. So we picked that one up, and then I also ended up getting a copy of One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This one was the book of the month for June of 2020. I believe it came out sometime in 2020, so that seems about right. But basically, they had this huge hardcover and then the paperback, and the paperback had a stain on it, and the hardcover was like $3 cheaper than the paperback, which is just a weird, bizarre situation. But I decided to pick this one up. It's one that I've had my eye on for a while. It is kind of like a bachelorette show. I do know that our main character, B, is plus size, and I believe she goes on this dating show to prove a point. This is giving me like, you know, bachelorette meets dumpling vibes. So I've heard good things about this, so I picked that one up because it was relatively cheap. This one is one that I had my eye on for a while as well. So this is The Marriage Clock by Zara Rahim. This, I've honestly forgotten what it's about, but I believe it is an arranged marriage kind of trope. A young Muslim American woman strikes a deal with her parents. She'll find her future husband in 3 months, or else they'll arrange a marriage for her. So it is kind of like, I think I'm not sure if it's very rom-com-y. So I've had my eye on this one. Obviously I've had my eye on these for a while, so I've already forgotten what they're about. But look how pretty the like chapter heads are. They've got these fun. Oh, I like them. Oh, they're also really short. You can get through this relatively quickly. That makes me happy. But yeah, love a good contemporary. And then the other one is this one, which is Annalise or Annalise or something like that, and it's David R. Gillam. Now I've had my eye on this one as well. It came out in 2019, and I saw it on Goodreads like as like these are books that are coming out in the next year, and I was like, that sounds cool. I've been on the lookout for it because I've only found like really expensive copies of this, and it's not one that's like at the top of my TBR, but it's one that I'm very interested in. But it's basically what if Anne Frank hadn't died when she did, and it's, I think, her story like reimagined, kind of like what would have happened if she continued. Like, for example, the first sentence says that Anne Frank is 16 years old, and it starts in 1945. And she survived the concentration camps, but lost her mother and sister, but she reunites with her father. It's kind of like an alternate history. But I don't know, something about that sounds really interesting. So those are the 4 books that I picked up from this bookstore. I'm really happy about that. And then a couple other ones that I've picked up recently. I mean, we walked out of there with a giant box, but this time it wasn't my fault, so that makes me feel a little bit better. That's really all I have as far as updates goes. I'd love to finish this today, but we'll see. It's just taken me a while to get through, not because I am not enjoying it, because I'm loving it. And then I'd like to also finish People We Met on Vacation, which is in the other room, so I'm too lazy to go get it, which I don't have that much left. I've only got about like 20, no, probably closer to 30% of the way left in the book, so I'd love to finish that at some point. But today I also need to start The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. This, I've already forgotten what it sits in for. I mean, it sits in for something on like my TBR game, but I feel like it fits something for, it was Bookoplathon, which was a mood read, and I'm always in the mood for a good Tessa Dare book. So today I need to get to Chapter 8, which is 78 pages in. I do have the audiobook from my library, so I'm not too worried about this, but it does follow this duke who comes back from war and is kind of just not really thought about getting married or anything like that, and then realizes he needs an heir, so he has to, and so he finds this vicar's daughter. Basically, he's like, she'll do, and so he strikes up this deal with, like, we're gonna sleep together until I get a son, or until we get an heir, and then, you know, we can live our separate lives. And she also has some rules as well. So they kind of strike up this marriage deal. I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, everything I've read by her has been great. I've loved her writing. She's very fun and witty, and I love seeing her characters thaw towards one another. So I'm excited to start this. I will probably finish this the day you're seeing this video. I will finish this, as we'll be reading it over the next 5 days. So I'd love to get some things done, considering I haven't finished anything in the month and it is already the 6th and I have way too much to read for me to have not finished anything. So yeah, we'll be doing some reading today at some point. I feel like that's it. I feel like that's all I wanted to update you on. But yeah, I'm gonna sit here and drink my coffee because I need it. Did it. I finished a book finally, and not just one book, but 2. So I finished 13 Treasures and People We Meet on Vacation. I finished 13 Treasures last night, pretty late last night. So fun fact, do not read this before you go to bed if you are a scaredy cat like me. Because, like, I didn't have bad dreams, but this book was unsettling, so I had this unsettling feeling the entire night. It's great fun. But I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. It was really good. I think I've given you most of my feelings about this The end, like, basically, if you're going into this book, prepare for the last 5 to 6 chapters to just, like, binge that at the very end, because things happen and you're just want to keep reading. So I'm very conflicted about this, because I know I've said this entire time that it doesn't feel like middle grade, because some of the situations in this book are very adult, very dark. They hint at things that are very dark and adult, and so, like, maybe kids wouldn't pick up on that right away, but there are just times where I'm like, this is definitely does not feel like a middle grade. And then there are times, like, part of the mysterious element, like there are some reveals at the end about certain characters, and like I guessed those reveals within minutes of meeting them. So it's like there's moments like that where, like, you know, that you have to kind of make the mystery element a little easier to grasp or like guess at, because it is kids that are reading this, but at the same time, you've got all these really tough situations in here that so like I'm very conflicted about this, because it feels middle grade and not middle grade all at the same time. The one thing that I think is really interesting about this is that this is the first in a trilogy, and this feels like a good standalone. So like I feel like I'm good. Like if I wasn't in love with these characters, I could stop after the first one and be happy. Not everything is kind of not everything is answered as far as all of the mysterious elements, and there's definitely some cliffhangers that happened at the end of this book, but at the same time it's still kind of wrapped up relatively decently, and so I'm excited to see where we could possibly go from here, because I'm not really sure. This feels, you know, kind of finished almost, so I'm interested to see where this could go. But I did really enjoy this. And then I did also finish People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I gave this one 4.5 stars as well. This one was both for my TBR game as well as Becca's Bookopoly, and I really liked it. So I just finished this, so I'm not sure if I have all of my thoughts together, but one thing that I love about this is like so freaking cute. I love their friendship. I like the dual timeline of this book, where we get like the present this summer, and then you also get like previous summers leading up to it, because it does follow our main two characters, Poppy and Alex, as they go on summer vacation over many, many years. And so I think it goes as far back as like 10 years. So each summer they kind of go on a vacation, and it just kind of gives you little situations during these vacations that kind of build up their friendship and their relationship, which I really enjoyed. I thought this was a very good relationship. I also saw like bits and pieces of me and my husband in this, which was really entertaining. Just kind of like seeing the way that they felt about each other, and I was like, yep, I feel that. I understand those words that are on the page. I thought it was a very good kind of like slow burn. It is very slow burn. Like there are things that happen in this book, but I feel like we don't really get even a hint at any sort of tension until well into over halfway. So if you are not a slow burn person, like if you like slow burn but you need hints at it before, not really in here, but it's still really good. I still really enjoyed their romance together, and I am really happy I read this. I thought it was great. I really did. There's definitely some moments that I definitely cried at the end. It hurt my soul, and then got pastel up back together. So that was just very fun. So like I don't have coherent thoughts yet because I just finished it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought their friendship was really cute, and if you want a really good friends to lovers romance, this is definitely it. This is like peak perfection friends to lovers romance. So really excited about that. So I was able to finish those two, which is great. I now have 2 books finished, and I'm so excited. Which means I need to pick up something else. Now I have been reading the Duchess deal on and off. I've read today's chapters already, so I'm on page 144, so about 40%, not quite 40%, 35% of the way through the book. Yet I love Tessa Dare's banter writing, like especially with these two. I feel like these 2 characters in this book are specifically like, that's how they share their like love and appreciation and respect for one another. Like we're super early on into the story, but I can already tell that like the banter is going to be a huge part of this, and even like side characters have commented on the fact that like our main male lead in here, like that's kind of his love language is this like back and forth banter that like if you don't know could come off as like maybe bickering, but like they're so cute. So I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm enjoying it so much, so that's fantastic. But I do need to pick up an audiobook, because while I am listening to this on audio, I am like listening and reading at the same time, and also like I'm only doing like, you know, 70 pages a day or something like, whatever it is. Like, I could finish one of Tessa Dare's books on audio in a day, no problem. So, we need something else to listen to. So I think I'm going to actually pick up The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. This one also, I don't know, just like that romance, contemporary romance gives me summer vibes. So I'm trying to see if I can get all of the books that remind me of summer done in the beginning of the month. So I'm definitely going to pick this one up on audio. I do have it on audio and on my Kindle, so I'll probably do one of those like mixed readings that I love to do. But I love Talia Hibbert's writing, and I'm so excited to get into this one because this one's also a like friends to lovers romance. It follows, I don't know any of the characters' names because I haven't looked it up yet, but the main male character is basically like in love with his best friend and has sworn that they will never, like, be roommates. And then something happens with her apartment that falls through, or her living situation that falls through, and so she ends up living with him or bunking with him for a little bit. And obviously that's not going to end well. But I love Talia Hibbert's writing. I think it's really funny, really bantery, and I've loved the Brown Sisters series, so I'm excited to read some more of her other, you know, romance, smutty goodness. So we're going to get into this one at some point. And then I think there's one other book on my list, maybe two, that are really like giving me the summer vibes. So I'll try to stick those at the beginning, and then we can just dive on into all of the other goodness that is going to be fall. I'm so excited. But I'm going to pick up The Roommate Risk next, I think. And, yeah, I'll update you in a couple of days maybe when I have updates to give you, or at the end of the week. Whichever comes first. Hello, it's me. I just wanted to come on here real quick, give you a little bit of an update. As you saw, I just got this beautiful book in the mail. It's Lord of Eternal Light by Ben Alderson, and of beginning of this week, I think, I decided to switch out his other book, which was The Last Mage, for this one, which is one of the Magical Readathon prompts. I think it was for like something with supernatural elements in it, like ghosts or something like that. And I just, I'm really excited about all his books, but this one just came out on the 4th of September, and I'm like beyond stoked about it. And also, it's a vampire romance. I don't know if you can tell by the fact that he's definitely got some blood leaking from his face there. But this is his most recent release, and while I do own now everything by him, this just has been speaking to me. So I decided to switch it out for this one, so I'm so freaking excited. So this will be my next physical book that I pick up. I don't know if I'll get to it this week or next week, but I'm so excited that I finally have my hands on it. I could have gotten it on Saturday, but I pushed it back. Didn't want this to sit in the mailbox while I was out of town, so I'm excited. But as you can see, I'm in my book nerd sweatshirt that I am obsessed with. By the way, it's my favorite thing to wear during the kind of colder season. It's super comfy. I need to investigate. I need to invest in more sweatshirts, I think, because I really have this one. And then I do have like this sweatshirt that's like an RBG sweatshirt that is kind of still packed away because it's not quite cold enough yet. But this morning, when I went out to go grab this from the mailbox, it's like chilly outside. Like it feels like proper fall. I'm just in this fall mood. I've got my fall candle burning, which is Read from Kindness and Candles from Serpent and Dove. It's very fall scented. And then her September line just went live today, and that has a lot of fall scents in it. So I am stoked. And since I can't have those today, we're gonna do with Read because it smells incredible. I brought out the mug that I consider the most fall looking because it's got these, fun colors. It kind of looks like a pumpkin a little bit as well. And then I also bought this coffee that's very fall. I am not a pumpkin spice person. I've discovered this. Every time I've tried it, it's just kind of been okay. And I had this pumpkin spice ground coffee last year. I really want to say it was from Dunkin' that I bought in the store. And it honestly, it kind of wasn't great. I got used to it so I could drink it for, the fall, because I didn't want to waste it. But, it wasn't great. But I found this coffee at TJ Maxx, actually. And this was a pumpkin-flavored latte kind of ground coffee. And it had other things in like pumpkin and nutmeg and cinnamon. And it's a very fall scent, or very fall flavor. So I decided to hold off until the 1st of fall, and I just could do it. I tried it today, and it's very good. I think I put maybe too much sugar in this morning, so it's a little sweet, but I am loving it so far. So I'm in the fall mood. I'm really feeling it, but I have been reading The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert, which I am maybe 30% of the way through, maybe. Yeah, exactly 30% of the way through. I'm in chapter 7. Is that right? Yeah, I went much farther than chapter 7 than I thought I was. So I'm conflicted about this because I don't know if I'm just not loving it quite as much. Now, granted, I'm not very far into it, but with her other books, I was sucked in immediately. And while there's a lot about the main female character named Jasmine, that reminds me of Dani Brown from Take a Hint, Dani Brown. There's just something that's I feel disconnected from it. I feel like I'm just missing something, and I don't know if it's because it's an older book and maybe her writing isn't as good as her newer one, or if the audio narrator is just awful, because it entirely could be the audiobook narrator. It's a guy, and honestly, he's kind of putting on this performance that all I can envision is a Gandalf wizard type character. So I'm going through this book, and I'm reading about a 28-year-old girl and her best friend, and I'm envisioning this best friend as an old white man with a long beard. And it's just that's not him. So I think it's the audiobook. I'm not sure, but something is disconnected for me, and I'm not 100% sure what it is. But her writing is still funny. Her writing is always very funny and bantery, and I really enjoy it. But kind of what I've grasped so far is this follows our main character, Jasmine, and her best friend, Raoul. And Jasmine comes from money, but she wants to earn, or doesn't come from money, but like over the years, her dad has acquired a lot of money, but she wants to live kind of like on her own means. So she's kind of a struggling lawyer, actually, for this non-profit organization. And she gets home to the apartment that she shares with this girl that I think she knew from uni, and her room is flooded. So she basically ends up staying with her best friend Raoul that she met in uni as well. And he has been in love with her. He thinks she's stunning, gorgeous, loves hanging out with her. They always have a lot of fun together, but like she really early on basically said like, I'm not gonna fall in love. It's either like we hook up for a little bit or we're friends. And so he decided to be friends with her, and so that's kind of where they're at. There's no like chance of crossover. But with them living together in like a, you know, forced proximity, obviously that's not gonna work out so well. So we'll see. I don't really know where we could go from here, because we're already at the point where she moved in like the first couple of chapters, and maybe chapter 3. And it does switch back and forth from like present day. It's mostly present day so far, but there has been a little back and forth between like showing how they met and then also showing just kind of like some things, like just some snippets of their friendship along the way. So I'm wondering if this is very similar layout wise to People We Met on Vacation, and I'm thinking that's the case, which is fine. I did like that a lot. I wish there was 2 narrators. I think if there were 2 narrators, I would be fine, because there usually is. I feel like in these books I've heard multiple narrators. I don't know, I just think there's something with a narrator that is not jiving with me, but you know, it's okay. It's just kind of okay at this point. As of right now, again, I'm only like 30% of the way through, so barely even anything. Right now, it's a 3-star. I expect that to change. I expect the rest of it, once we get into some of the more like, some of the more romantic scenes and some of the scenes that test their friendship, I feel like they're going to have some instances like that. Then we'll be getting some more into like the smutty romance aspect of this story. I think that will make it better. It's relatively short for, I think, a Kindle. It's only about 300 pages. And Kindle pages are like super tiny, and it's also formatted weird. I don't know if you can see it, but like there's breaks between all the chapters, and like it's not indented. It's just like a break, and that's how you know, not the chapters, the paragraphs. That's kind of how you know that that paragraph is done. And so like it's also formatted very bizarrely, which I'm not in love with. So like, I don't know, there's just a lot of things that are kind of out to get this book, and it's not the book's fault. So I expect to read some more of this today. I also need to do my section of the Duchess deal. I'm probably going to finish the chapter I'm in and then do the Duchess deal, just because like I'm loving this, and I just need to continue. But I do know that later today, Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction is doing some productivity sprints for her patrons, and I am one of those, and I really would like to do that. I've got some videos I really need to edit because I've had to reshuffle some of the things that I want to come out this month. So we'll see. I'm kind of in this limbo. So I'm going to continue to work a little bit because I do have a couple of things I need to do, and then we'll just dive right into some reading. I'm excited, but like I swear, this just smells like fall. It's a good day. I am here to wrap up my reading because I do have an update and also this vlog because it is Friday night-ish. It's almost 5, but I don't really have much planned for the rest of the night as far as reading, besides like getting my pages in for the Duchess deal. So, I just thought I'd wrap up here. But I did finish The Roommate Risk. So I decided to give this like 3.5 stars, I think is what I ended up giving it. I think the narrator for the audiobook was the big issue for me, but with that being said, the more I went through this book, the more I was realizing that like the writing was not as like up to par compared to like the Brown sisters for me, and like this is a messy book as far as like the characters go, and it's like there's just a lot of mess with our characters because of a lot of trauma that they've had in the past. So let me find the content warnings, because Talia Hibbert's always really good about putting content warnings at the beginning of all of her books, at least the ones that I've read so far, just to give you an idea of what you're getting into so that you're, safe while you're reading. So it says here that the story contains themes of parental neglect and abandonment, parental death, and alcohol dependence that could trigger certain audiences. So she's really good at like kind of putting those out there so that you're aware of what's going on. But I was noticing while I was reading that there was a lot of telling, not showing when it came to like relationships. Relationship that I saw the most in, I think, was with the best friend of our main female character. It kind of was just like telling you that these were best friends and not really showing you, and then the best friend like showed up when it was important for the plot that she was there, because it just kind of shows the difference between them. And like while their scenes were fun and they had some good friendly banter back and forth, it's still it didn't feel like it was. Like the best way I can describe it is like they kept telling us over and over that they were friends, and it didn't feel like they were friends. Like we weren't shown it through their actions towards one another or anything. It was just kind of like, they're friends, believe us. So some of the character development wasn't really there for me. So by the end of it, I just kind of was like, I mean, the romance was good, the smutty scenes were good, but like that's really the only good portions of this book in my opinion. So while I do think some of my lack of enjoyment came from the audiobook, I do think that there is some issues with the writing because this is an earlier book than some of her Brown books. And I don't know, it's just like, it was just kind of okay overall. But I did end up giving this one, I think 3 stars is what I said. So yeah, that's kind of the end of my week. I was able to finish 3 books. I'm gonna count this as a successful week because I calculated it, and to read everything I want to, I need to read either 4 or 5 books per week. And with this, with me buddy reading this book, I'm putting off reading it. Otherwise, I would have been done with this one way before now, and we would have had 4. So I'm going to count this as a success. I think it was a pretty decent week because we started with the first one I finished was 13 Treasures by Michelle Harrison, which got 4.5 stars. Then we got People We Meet on Vacation, which also got 4.5 stars. And then obviously The Roommate Risk got 3. So far, this one's at like a 4.5. I expect it to get bumped up to a 5 because I love Tessa Dare's writing. So we'll start next week probably with this one being done because I need to finish the section I'm in tonight, which is not that much, and then I have literally that much left to read, which I will devour tomorrow. So we'll see kind of what next week looks like. I have no plans as far as what I want to read now that like I'm done with my physical and my audiobook. Well, almost. I'm going to have to find a couple of things to pick up, and I'm not sure what I want. I'm conflicted because I want to read all of the things. So stay tuned for that. I will be home for the next couple of weeks, just because of schedules and how things are working out at work. So you'll see a lot of me at home. So we'll see what happens. But I hope you enjoyed this first week. It was a little bit of a long one. Let me know down below if you're participating in the readathons or not, and what your first week and a half of the month as far as reading goes. I'd love to know what you are currently reading, what you've already read, if you finished some things. Let me know all that fun stuff. But if you liked this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe it down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all of those out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!